We already know about some big games that will be dropping in 2024 like Assassin's Creed Red, Black Myth Wukong and Star Wars Outlaws. But as always, there will also be many showcases and presentations that reveal big games that we don't know about yet, with some of them maybe even launching in 2024, so let's go over them. And I can see the new Ghost Recon game being one of them. It's internally called Project Over, and we already heard rumors about this game back in 2022 after Ubisoft announced the end of the support for Breakpoint. And in a Kotaku article, it was noted that the game could arrive as early as fiscal year 2023, which obviously did not happen. It also did not release in the financial year 2024 that we're currently in, so high chance it's happening in financial year 2025, which between April 2024 and March 2025. And they of course have to get it right after the John Bernthal disaster. Like, nothing wrong with his role as the villain, but pretty much everything else was flawed, forcing Ubisoft to basically redo the game with free updates. Like, this new Ghost Recon game needs to have all these features day one and just be more of what the fans want. So no RPG elements, really focus on realism, have the AI companions immediately, and also a more interesting open world to explore, as I totally think they will do another open world title. The game content director on Breakpoint is now a game director for 4 years on an unannounced project, which is very likely this next Ghost Recon game, so again 5 years at the end of 2024. I think it's a high chance that we see the game soon. We'll talk about more potential reveals from Ubisoft later on, but first, the one that would make me lose my mind, Ghost of Tsushima 2. I really think that Sony wants to have the spotlight on Rise of the Ronin first, that of course already launches in March. Like, they're quite different, especially in terms of combat, but they of course do look quite similar thanks to the setting. But I'm sure that Sony will do another big summer showcase before Summer Game Fest, which would be a few months after Rise of the Ronin, so then it's the perfect time to properly reveal Ghost of Tsushima 2. This would then be 4 years after the game's launch and 3 years after the director's cut. Like, we all know that the sequel is coming, with them in 2022 looking for people to help them for an unannounced open world stealth game. The script for the movie, that is by the way being directed by the John Wick director, is also done. Like, they're preparing big things for the franchise, but I still don't think that Ghost 2 is coming in 2024. Like, big Sony exclusives usually need 5 years these days. Still, I think seeing the game for the first time to build anticipation, I think only makes sense, with them then also finally releasing the first game on PC, which I do think will happen in 2024. Oh! And if you liked the video so far, leaving a like would really help me out, and subscribe of course for coverage on these big reveals and games. A game that I wanted to include in this video, but that has already been announced, is the new Monster Hunter game. Monster Hunter Wilds of course coming in 2025, but we get more info in the summer of 2024. And that is also when I think they will announce Resident Evil 9. We got some rumors from a very reliable leaker saying that it will have the biggest budget in the series, which actually not that weird, as games cost more and more to make each year, and Resident Evil 9 will very likely also ditch the old gen hardware, so finally focus on the new tech. Capcom of course has a great cadence for these Resident Evil titles, switching up brand new releases with remakes, and what usually happens is that they get a June or like end of May reveal and then launch in the early part of the following year, and leaks now indicate that the same will happen for RE9. It should also be the closing chapter to the current arc of the series and move onto new story arcs and focuses, and take the series in new directions. This really sounds like a big summer PlayStation showcase or state of play reveal, but Microsoft will of course also be doing a big show in the summer like every year, where we will get a first look at the Indiana Jones games from the looks of it, that might also even come out in 2024, like we at least know that a reveal is planned in this new year. But they will of course also reveal brand new titles. The whole Forza release cadence has been different this generation, but I still think it's possible that we see Forza Horizon 6 already, which would be 3 years after Forza Horizon 5, and that game also launched 3 years after Forza Horizon 4. But it's also really time that we see what the Coalition has been up to. They actually made the Matrix Awakens demo in 2021 to show off Unreal Engine 5. You've maybe seen it or played it even, but really their biggest, most recent title was Gears 5 in 2019, and they also did Gears Tactics in 2020, so it feels right to see the next Gears of War at least in 2024. Would be a big fall 2024 title as well, and I'm going to predict that it will probably be one of the best looking games of the year, fully utilizing Unreal Engine 5. On the Bethesda side, it feels time to see what id Software has been doing. They've been working hard on something new ever since Doom Doom Eternal released almost 4 years ago. There were actually rumors about it being a Mandalorian game, which would have been really awesome, but Jeff Grubb, who is of course very reliable, shut those rumors down. An early Bethesda leak revealed Doom Year Zero, so a prequel, but also that seems to be outdated, as we know Dishonored 3, for example, is not happening anymore. So maybe they are giving Quake the Doom 2016 treatment, including the multiplayer, like they have been remastering the older titles. At least I think we will learn more about what id Software has been up to in 2024. And I also think we will see a new Far Cry reveal in 2024. We know about 2 Far Cry games that are in development at Ubisoft. One is a regular mainline title, Far Cry 7, which planned for fall 2025. But they are also working on a dedicated Far Cry multiplayer game, an extraction-based shooter. This should have a fictional Alaskan setting where we have to gather resources by hunting animals, harvesting plants, and finding weapon parts to make guns. We can likely explore alone or with friends and then also encounter other players, but if you die, you will lose everything unless you extracted it safely to your hideout. Now, Insider Gaming noted in October that a release date is currently penciled in for April 2025, with the game planned to go in alpha in the first half of 2024. So unless these plans got delayed, I think it makes sense for Ubisoft to announce the game in 2024 already. For one, so people can sign up for these test sessions, and also because it would probably leak otherwise, right? So maybe not the Far Cry game we are really looking forward to. I think Far Cry 7 gets a reveal in 2025 instead, but I think it will still be interesting to see this multiplayer game, as it should be the first Far Cry title for current gen only, and also on the Snowdrop engine that was of course recently used for Avatar. So I do expect a big graphical jump. Also for the next Metro game, as this being built for Gen 9 consoles and PC with a complete overhaul of our engine and renderer to take advantage of the new power, storage and hardware supported ray tracing afforded by the new consoles. Like 4A Games already said that they're working on a new Metro game, and in early 2023 we learned that it's already fully playable thanks to Insider Gaming. So now that we are 5 years after Exodus, it makes sense that we see this next title in 2024, and I would not be surprised if it releases in the new year as well. We know that Take-Two wants to ship several groundbreaking titles in fiscal year 2025 to achieve 8 billion in net bookings, which 2.5 billion more than normal. So again, the fiscal year 2025 is between April 2024 and March 2025, and we know GTA 6 is 2025, so probably early 2025 to help with that 8 billion number, but they probably still need more games to achieve that. And really the most likely one is Borderlands 4. The game was actually leaked by an ex-developer who worked on it, noting it as Borderlands 4 UE4 on LinkedIn. So still, Unreal Engine 4, which to me also sounds like something that is releasing soon, as we of course see many teams now shifting to Unreal Engine 5. In 2021, the CEO of Gearbox, Randy Pitchford, noted that they were working on the big one, referring to Borderlands. Like high chance they immediately started working on it after Borderlands 3 came out in 2019, and we for example see that the game director on Borderlands 3 at the Quebec studio is now a creative director, probably on Borderlands 4 for 3 years now. And I would like to remind you that there's also a Borderlands movie coming out on August 9th, which would of course totally elevate the series if the movie is good. So launching a game around that would be very beneficial. And I have a hard time coming up with other Take-Two games that could be ready for that spring 2024 to early 2025 window. In August 2022, we learned that the new Mafia game was still a few years away. The BioShock game has now been in the works for more than 5 years, looking at the LinkedIn from Mel, who was an associate creative director, but recently switched to being a narrative director on the game. Like that switch indicates to me that they probably still need more time for that, and that we probably see Judas, the game from the original BioShock creator, Ken Levine, before that. Maybe also in 2024. I really enjoyed Borderlands 3, especially the post-launch content, so super excited to see what they will do with the 4th game, and I think it makes sense to see it in 2024. But if I could pick one game that I hope to see finally revealed in 2024, it's the Horizon Online title that right now has been in the works for almost 6 years at Guerrilla Games. Seems like it will still be open world and have quite some narrative, while overall of course being focused on hunting the machine dinosaurs together with other players. Seems like we pick a character from the different tribes, so we just get a whole new perspective on this world, and will also be less powerful than Aloy probably, kind of how in the Ghost of Tsushima Legends multiplayer, they also divided Jin's skills between the 4 different classes. Again, the game director started working on this online project in February 2018, so you would hope that we at least finally get to see it in 2024. I would love to have a beta or something in that year as well. And there are really more PlayStation games that could be revealed in 2024, like Team Asobi has not released a game since Astro's Playroom, the PS5 launch title. They of course also did Astrobot Rescue Mission on PlayStation VR. In 2021 we learned that their next game would be the most ambitious project yet, so maybe they're doing a full-on PS5 console release now. Still, I think it's time to finally see it. Bluepoint, the makers of the Shadow of the Colossus remake and more recently Demon's Souls, are now doing an original game, so not a remake, and it has been in development for more than 3 years now. Rumors have it that it might be a smaller Miles Morales type game, so that would also be possible as a nice surprise 2024 release. It will probably be a new IP, so it could be cool. But I really hope we see the new IP from the Days Gone makers. That should include multiplayer and builds upon the open world systems of Days Gone, but brings you a whole new world that they are extremely excited to craft for us. The game started proper development in 2021, so I can totally see them like hold on to it a bit longer, although Days Gone was also announced 3 years before it released. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I just really hope we get a glimpse in 2024. But the most likely thing we will see is that Atreus-focused God of War game. We talked about it many times here on the channel. We of course just had the free Valhalla DLC that only a small team inside Santa Monica worked on. Or probably a bigger part of the studio is working on this Miles Morales-sized Atreus game that will likely include some other Ragnarok characters as well. Like these mid-sized $50 titles usually take 2 years to make, and it would be perfect in a year where Sony is lacking some big PlayStation Studio exclusives. So then having maybe a smaller but still God of War title to launch alongside the PS5 Pro would of course be great. And speaking of new hardware, Nintendo is almost certainly going to drop the Switch 2, so totally expect some big game reveals for that, as I'm sure they want to repeat that first year of the Switch that had banger after banger. So I think we get a new Mario Kart reveal, maybe as a launch title, 3D Mario, and potentially other titles to fill that launch and first year lineup. Thought to check out my recent video on the big games that we actually know about will be coming in 2024, as it's shaping up to be a pretty big year. Click on the screen for that video. Of course, subscribe for coverage on those games. A like would be appreciated, and I will speak to you very soon. Goodbye.